So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 webinar series for Atlassian in Scotland. Over the course of the next 6 months, we'll be presenting a series of online webinars, and they're all about celebrating effective teamwork by showcasing Atlassian products and partner tools. Our 2020 series will have a core IT service management theme, or ITSM. And our aim for the series is to share local customer success stories from here in Scotland, and also product and solution insights as well. Hopefully you can take them away and use them in your own solutions and for your own teams. A bit more context for everybody that has joined today. So originally we had intended to run this event as a one-day event, an in-person event at the University of Strathclyde. So they've got a fantastic collaborative venue, the Technology Innovation Centre, and that's a picture from last year's event. Unfortunately, we all know what happened next. So what did we do? So we've repackaged our one-day event into a series of insightful webinars that we hope you'll enjoy. Today we've got two talks to share with you. First up will be Joachim Fuchs from Atlassian, and shortly after we'll have Stephen Neal presenting from Mary's Meals. A little bit more on both of these discussions later. We'll also have live Q&A throughout the webinar. Please feel free to post a question through the chat, and all of our presenters today are on hand and they'll do their best to try and answer your questions. First up, a big thank you goes to Atlassian, our event partner. Atlassian products are increasingly forming the backbone of successful project delivery and also service management for a huge number of businesses here in Scotland. In fact, globally, Atlassian products are now used by over 170,000 customers in over 190 countries. That's just incredible. It's a huge amount of businesses using the tools. Big thanks go to our charity partner, Mary's Meals. You'll find a little bit more about Mary's Meals later on when Stephen's introducing his talk. But they do amazing work in providing chronically hungry children with one meal every school day. If you'd like to share any insights from today's webinar, please feel free to use our hashtag, so Tartan Teamwork, and you can mention us at Verve. So a little bit about me and Verve. So here's a picture of me looking a bit more young. A few years back, I think that was. Lots more hair as well. Anyway, so I'm Nigel Rochford, so I'm founder and CEO of Verve Consulting. We're based in Glasgow, Scotland. Our mission as a business and as a team is to inspire effective teamwork. We do that by providing Atlassian solutions, empowering teams to work effectively together. We work with our customers very, very closely. So we consider ourselves as delivery partners, and the value that we add lies in the solutions that we design and build for those customers. We have four main focus areas and solutions that we provide. ITSM, so IT Service Management, the theme of this webinar series. PPM, so Project Portfolio Management, which is all about managing and delivering projects and programs and portfolios of those projects. Automation and reporting as well. So if you'd like to find out more about any of those specific areas that we're not covering in the series, feel free to reach out. We also provide additional services around the Atlassian toolset. So firstly, cloud migration, which is a big priority for a lot of our customers just now. So a lot of our customers, the vast majority, have plans to migrate from server, so a single node, or from data center, multiple nodes, to Atlassian Cloud. And we can help customers get there, whether that's through strategy, planning, and actual delivery. So if you need help, feel free to reach out. We also provide support services with flexible packages, support level agreements as well. And if you need any of the products, we can provide them too. So if you need to purchase Jira, Confluence, just get in touch with one of the team and we can look after you. Of course, we have another mission as well, which I'd like to cover today, especially with Mary's Meals presenting, and that is to be more socially responsible. We're doing that at New Verve by adopting the 1% model. And I've got a short video from Salesforce coming up, just explaining a little bit about what that means and how Salesforce have implemented it.
What will it take to change this planet we all share? Too much, right? Well, is 1% too much? 1% of an 8-hour workday is about 5 minutes, but over a year, that's 20 hours. What if we all gave 1%? What would that look like? What if everyone at your company spent 1% of their work time volunteering for a cause they really cared about? What if your company gave 1% of your product to those in need? What if every company gave 1% of their equity to a place that could make a big difference? Could we all solve society's biggest challenges together? Not only could we, it's working now. That's the model at Salesforce. Salesforce donates 1% of their time, product, and financial resources to organizations doing good in the world. It's called the 1% model, and if only 1% of you watching this today does this at your company, you will help make a significant difference. 1%. When you count it up, it's actually a lot.
So I'm proud to say that New Verve is a member of the global movement known as Pledge 1%. So this is a movement of corporate philanthropy. It encourages and empowers companies of all shapes and sizes, from micro to SME, to donate 1% of their staff time, product, profit, or equity to any charity of their choosing. It's a really, really easy way to leverage a portion of your future success to support non-profits in the community. So obviously a small commitment can make a huge impact in future. So at New Verve, we're on the path to giving 1% of our time, and in future, we have aspirations to do more. So the first partner that we're working with is Mary's Meals, and again, you'll find out a little bit more about them later. So the theme for the webinar series is ITSM, or IT Service Management. Now, we live in a services first world, and that's pretty obvious from everything that we do from day to day, from booking flights, maybe not just now in current circumstances, to taking money out through an ATM. Everything involves some kind of technology, and IT is the center of this transformation. And over the past few years, very recently, the ITSM mindset is shifting. Customers want flawless service and they want it fast. And then obviously businesses want to cut waste and costs, but also at the same time expect speed and value. So how do you do that? So IT teams are switching to leaner, much more agile approaches that value ease of use, collaboration, and also knowledge. Now, I mention those because Atlassian's approach to ITSM can really help here. They can help teams gain efficiencies, stay nimble, and also focus on delivering value, obviously the most important aspect. So that kind of lines us up nicely for our first speaker. So our next talk will explore the Atlassian way to building a lean, agile ITSM machine one that's based on solutions, people, and best practices. Joachim is an Atlassian solutions engineer based in Munich. He supports Atlassian's enterprise customers and partners to get the most value out of Atlassian solutions. His focus, as well as ITSM, is also modern business management. So I shall hand over now to Joachim, and I hope you enjoy his presentation.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 2020 webinar series from New Verve. Today, I would like to speak about the Atlassian approach to ITSM and how we handle the agile service management for IT and service teams. My name is Joachim Fuchs. I'm part of the solution engineering team and here based next to the Munich area. So based on our mission, unleash the potential of every team, our ITSM vision, we would like to support the team culture. So in that case, maybe a little bit contradictory to traditional ITSM approaches, which are maybe most of the time modular, process-centric, more centralized, and therefore in total a little bit too rigid. We would like to bring the team to the work with an easy adaptable approach really to set up this kind of ITSM practices. So for us in the center, there is the IT team. Everything begins with the team. The team for us are the people, the culture, and the necessary practices really to handle that kind of stuff. And to support these teams, maybe with some cultural or practice ideas, we are not also offering a solution like Jira Service Desk. We also would like to help customers and teams with our Atlassian team playbooks. These team playbooks were generated based on our learnings the last years. So in that case, we would like to offer our learnings in terms of several plays that could be used to speed up the teams or maybe help them in practice or cultural aspects. But we are also offering some health monitors that could be helpful in terms of finding out how we are in the current state and maybe doing some of the plays, then later on see maybe how we have progressed in that areas. In the bottom, you will see there's an atlassian.com/team playbook link. And with that one, you are easily can take benefit of that one by not having a login or any licenses with Atlassian on that one. But coming back to our Atlassian approach to ITSM, so having the IT teams and the practices in the center, we are now really able to support you with request management, issue management, also helpful for incidents and changes that can happen or will happen in your organization. And with our idea, we would like to offer an adaptable, based on lean and agile methods, setup system that really enables learning for the teams, maybe how to speed up and maybe how to provide some better services. And this is offered in a decentralized level. That means you can set up, or the teams can set up service desks on their own based on the need they will see with their customers or with the internal organization. And by offering this one, we really would like to empower and build a collaborative system in the organization. And as said, these IT teams and the practices then will be surrounded by some cultural aspects. So if we are speaking about the requests, issues, incidents, and changes, so on the other side, there are three main areas where we would like to help you in your organization. So one level is the delivery portion, if it comes to delivering IT projects and releases. The second portion is the ops part, talking about incident, problem, and change, and also maybe the configuration management. And the last and important portion, especially in our times, and not always talking about IT departments, this is the service area. To provide service desks that are, for example, are related to HR or marketing departments, and to help them to offer services either internally or externally to customers. And this is surrounded by the knowledge base. That means to have a lot of knowledge base, how-to articles, really to either speed up the service desk experience or maybe try to prevent people setting up service requests because maybe they can do everything on their own by reading the knowledge base articles. So these are the three main areas. So it's called IT business management, IT operation management, and IT service management. And all of the three domains can easily be handled in Jira Service Desk. So let's start with the lean and agile portion of this approach, because we see there is an evolution in ITIL with ITIL 4. So ITSM gets agile, and we also try to follow this with our idea. In that case, the focus then will be more on value as a central principle. We would like to offer some guiding principles like the culture and the value aspect. I have spoken about that one with the playbooks, for example, and also seeing a shift from processes to practices. And if you see the picture, here's the demand that is necessary. And on the other side, now we are speaking of the value. And to get to that one, there are the guiding principles, the service value chain, the practice and the governance really to support this one. And we also try to bring this in our solution. So let's start with the self-service experience. We would like to support the business with service request management. And here you can see our idea for modern service request management. So the question is really how to get access. Either it could be via email, it could be via a mobile app, or it could be via a very high sophisticated self-service portal, where maybe based on the knowledge base articles, this could be a great entry point and also a great handling point for the users before, I don't know, starting the experience with a Jira Service Desk solution or service request on that level. Part of this delivery will be three items or three areas. One is the request area. So the knowledge will help with that one to set up the request maybe properly, or maybe prevent really just to open a ticket. It could be necessary that a request needs an approval. This could also be handled in Jira Service Desk. And also the automation part can also help with that one, especially maybe by transitioning some stuff over to the correct agents or to the correct domains, for example, or maybe also in the process, if there might be a switch in a state, there could be an information flow based on that one. The second portion is the respond part. Here we can classify the service requests. Also, we can have some learnings based on this classification. We can assign it to the right agents to really fulfill this one. And we can start on this one with a collaborative idea. That means we can either speak and collaborate with the person starting that request, or maybe we can collaborate with other parties in the organization just to get some better insights and some information about this one. And the last portion is the fulfill one. Here, okay, we would like to complete this request. And we also would like to send out a survey also to see what we can enhance and what we can improve in our services. And we can also use this information to do some measurements in terms of how many incidents does we have in which domain, what's about the service level and the time to resolve these issues, for example. And the key portion for this approach is really the combination of Jira Service Desk and Confluence. Because with Confluence, there is the great collaborative platform to have all the informations like practices for procedures or process guides, or how-to articles or troubleshooting articles that can either help the people try to open up a service request, or can help the agents really to fulfill and complete this service in the best quality and as fast as possible. And also Confluence can help team documents like meetings and retros could also be part of that one. So this is a little bit more the internal side of the Jira Service Desk, that the agents can also collaborate with these documents for their work. Here we have a base example, so we can see someone is opening or thinking of a request for service. Maybe before opening that one, the question is, might there be a knowledge article that could be helped? And if not, maybe later on, if this kind of request will maybe be raised often, the agents maybe can provide this knowledge base article, or maybe if there is one, then, for example, based on the information, the quality of the service request might be even bigger by just starting it with a headline, for example. And then also based on the idea if an approval is required or not, then might be an extra step to get this approval, maybe from my boss if I would like to get a new laptop, for example. And then it's the other portion. These are the agents from the service desk. Really, they have their workflow. They are handling this request properly. There are some states to do this one. And also maybe having this one completed as a kind of an automation, for example, there could be a CSAT survey sent out to this business customer asking for the quality of our service and maybe also help us to improve or check what's our current status, what maybe could be done better in the future for this one. Here is an example of a sophisticated support central portal. So this also could be completely have the idea and the guidelines of your company. So also following this idea. And here, for example, it's a great starting point either to find the help articles or the how to do stuff, or maybe find directly the necessary and important service desk that could help to fulfill the customer needs. Now let's come to the next portion, incident response. Incident response, therefore, I would like to highlight the combination of three of our solutions. So starting with Jira Service Desk as the starting point for these tickets, and then together with our incident response solution, Opsgenie, and our communication platform status page, we really can use these tickets really to make some alerts out of that one, or some incident that needs to be handled. And this also will be automatically, for example, shown to external customers. For example, we have an issue, but we are working on this one. On the other side, also Opsgenie, and this I will come to the next picture here, sits really in the middle and is the single source of information if we would like to find an umbrella for all the monitoring solutions in our organization, because here all the alerts will come together and maybe based on some automation, we are creating some incidents. Another level to find these incidents is, for example, the bidirectional synchronization to Jira Service Desk or ServiceNow, for example. So in that case, based on an escalation, it could be that then an incident or alert will be started here. Or the other way around could be that I have an alert here, and based on that one, I have to open a Jira Service Desk ticket to have a proper workflow on the other side of the chain really to support this one. And the third level for Opsgenie, where customer can engage with Opsgenie and the people being on shift for on service, is a call center option. So having a number to call could either direct the people directly to people in shift for service, or maybe opening an alert. And this alert then could be communicated to status page, or for example, with an integration to Slack and MS Teams to also start this chat ops practice. Maybe also just in terms of the collaboration between all the members, or maybe also in terms of starting the acknowledgement of an alert, or maybe starting some activities on that one. And so Opsgenie really sits in the middle, takes care of everything, and also especially handling the incidents. And maybe afterwards, then the status page will be cleared, everything is up and running. And for example, also Jira Service Desk ticket can be based on the automation handled by this one. The next portion of this chain is the customer communication part. So we are really talking about the idea here to have the communication channel to our external or internal customers to tell them maybe we have an incident. And we can also use this as a marketing tool to show how great our service was working the last 90 days. We can integrate it with some hosting information. Maybe if some of our services are, for example, hosted in AWS or Azure. We can integrate some monitoring solutions to be a trigger point for that one. And also the alerting, for example, coming from Opsgenie could be a proper starting point really to show this information to our customers. And so the next domain that I would like to highlight here is change coordination in a DevOps world. So change coordination is also a very interesting domain where we can support with Jira Service. And so in that case, we try to help the change management area because the infrastructure landscape has evolved over the last years. And so maybe also the change management process has to need some adaptations to this one. So in former times, if we are taking care of the whole application consisting of the application itself, maybe some layer like database, web servers, or the messaging part, and also the underlying operating system, virtualization platforms, and the services. That means on all that level, there could be some change needed. And so there was an IT practice in place called change management, really to take care that necessary changes are really then will be triggered by that one, will be approved in that process. But over the course of the last years, some of the portions a little bit have faded away or get another attraction. For example, by offering an infrastructure as a service, maybe this portion will be delivered from other parties. And maybe in that case, also our IT practice has changed a little bit to talk about the change control, how to be sure that this is handled maybe in combination with this or the application. And the next level for this one is really talking about change coordination, because by now having virtualized infrastructures, having a complete platform that is offering the application, and also having the systems that are taking care of the application code, we really need a coordination piece between all these three different layers just to be sure that everything runs fine, runs smoothly, and is on the level that we are not taking too much risk for this one. And so it is our approach for change management. We would like to be with our solution or support to be at the speed of the business. So if there is a need for a constant rollout of new features, then the question is really how to secure this speed and maybe also help with the automation of some of the standard changes. The same is streamlining approvals. For example, for some kind of changes, the approvals should be needed because everything was discussed up front. And in total, we would like to reduce the risk, and we would like to facilitating the value that comes with these changes. So in that case, we also try with our practices to help to balance the risk and the safety and quality standards that should be held in the organization. So in that case, the change in the whole process can help to de-risk the change management process. And in total, we are offering a continuous improvement platform because with all post-incident report reviews, there's a learning behind that one. And with each of the learning, maybe we can improve what we are doing. We can improve the full cycle, either be a little bit with more speed, do the streamlining better, or maybe reducing the risk over the course of our journey to do this. So this is the portion of change management and change coordination. And one of the key pieces here is the automation piece. So we have here our three change possibilities, like normal change, standard change, emergency changes. And based on that one, there's a kind of a flow like initiation, this kind of stuff, plan and authorize, implement and verify, and demand do some closure of these changes, and also maybe having a review. And if you would like to be faster than maybe in the former times, maybe then we need some special cycles to support that one, and also some automation capabilities really to improve the flow. And so, for example, talking of a standard change, maybe we have an automated approval because all the things are set up, the requirements are set, And so by moving into an approval flow, when we can also do it with automating approval, because all the things that were done were tracked in the system, so we can do a review, and maybe then we can think of some improvement if we see that one. And for example, that there might be a change implemented. It could be that out of the box, the webhook is running on an AWS provisioning server. And so there are some great capabilities really to leverage the automation in this ITSM change coordination piece. So now let's come to the end. Many thanks so far for your attendance. I just would like to highlight two interesting reads that maybe you can think of. And so there is one white paper where together with Forrester, we found out which economic impact our Atlassian idea has in organizations. So below you will see the link. And also there's a second interesting white paper, so a complete guide to Atlassian for ITSM. This was written by my colleagues Teresa Folk and Paul Buffington. And so if you also would like to dig into this one, please feel free and download this white paper. So in that case, thank you very much and hope to see and hear you in the rest of the session. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks, Joachim. That was a really insightful presentation. So a reminder that if you do have any questions for Joachim, just use the Q&A, the live Q&A feature, and we'll do our best to answer your questions for you. So next up, we have Stephen Neal from Mary's Meals. So Mary's Meals operate in really challenging environments in some of the world's poorest communities. They collaborate daily in their work with a variety of suppliers and a pretty massive volunteer network to ultimately deliver on their mission to end child hunger. Atlassian software plays a key part in Mary's Meals running lean in that mission. So I'll hand over to Stephen now, who's going to talk about from service management to service meals.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to join Nigel and Joachim in this ITSM webinar. My name is Stephen Neal. I'm the IT infrastructure lead at Mary's Meals. And in this session, I'd like to introduce you to what we do and why we implemented Atlassian tools to help manage the IT services underpinning our work. So who are Mary's Meals? Well, I thought I'd get one of our supporters to introduce us by telling you a little story.
Whenever a story starts like this, two brothers walk into a bar, it usually doesn't end well. But this story's different. Magnus McFarlane Barrow walked into a bar with his brother. While having a drink, they talked about the heart-wrenching images from the Bosnian War they'd just seen on TV. And so they made an extraordinary decision most of us don't make. They decided to help and drove a truck filled with supplies to Bosnia 23 times. That amazing act of kindness led to his life's work.
So what had started as a one-off delivery of aid into Bosnia has now grown into an international charity, which is still to this day run from the same tin shed in Domali that housed the original collection of donations for that first mission. The work has grown and developed over the years, and in 2002, Magnus was in Malawi, where he met a family whose own hopes and dreams were going to set in motion an opportunity to change thousands of lives. In a hut, sitting on the ground, Magnus met Emma, a mother who was dying from AIDS, and her 6 children who were sat around her. Magnus asked her eldest son Edward what his hopes were in life, and Edward replied, "To have enough to eat and to go to school one day. Now those simple hopes stayed in Magnus's mind and were the catalyst for the shift to focus aid work on school feeding, and the charity became Mary's Meals. The Mary's Meals started feeding 200 children in a school in Malawi in 2002. The invitations to expand the school feeding work quickly came in, and today Mary's Meals are now feeding 1,667,067 children, representing more than a quarter of the school population in Malawi. That's done through an incredible network of over 80,000 volunteers in the country. Today we have school feeding programs in 18 countries over 5 continents, with funds generated from a further 19 countries or national affiliates to support this work. So we're a global movement that sets up feeding projects in some of the world's poorest communities, where poverty and hunger prevent children from gaining an education. Our idea is a simple one. We work with the local communities to provide one daily meal in a place of learning in order to attract chronically poor children into the classroom, where they can get an education that we hope will one day be their ladder out of poverty. So our vision is that every child receives one daily meal in their place of education, and that those who have more than they need get an opportunity to share with those who lack even the most basic things. It's estimated today there are over 60 million children who miss school because of poverty. Instead of sitting in a classroom, they're working in fields, begging on street corners or scavenging just to survive. Millions more attend school so hungry that they're not able to concentrate and learn. You know, it costs just £15.90 to feed a child for a whole school year. The average cost of each meal is just 8 pence. Now we're able to do this because we keep our costs low, ensuring that at least 93% of your donations are spent directly on our charitable activities. We also have an amazing army of volunteers in all the places that we work and the places that we raise funds. So here are some of our amazing supporters who go to great lengths to help us reach the next hungry child. Ellison Hudson is a grandmother from Dundee. She celebrated her 80th birthday by cycling 134 miles around Scotland in just 5 days. This is a group of students from Strathclyde University who raised money walking the nearly 70 miles from Glasgow to our shed in Dalmally. And Robert Thulis from Yorkshire, who'd set himself the challenge of running more than 600 miles in a year to raise money for the work. He lost an incredible 7 stone in weight along the way. From Gerard Butler at the start of the session is an excerpt from our new film Love Reaches Everywhere, which I'd love to invite you to check out after the session concludes for more details on what we do in our work. So that's an introduction to what we do. We're working in areas where there's a tremendous need and where we've seen great growth in both the requests for help and numbers of supporters aligning themselves with our mission. A simple solution to world hunger. Well, the solution might be simple, provision of a daily meal, but the work required to get there and deliver it can be steeped in complexity. We don't consider ourselves an IT organisation, but increasingly the organisation is reliant on IT to deliver its mission. There was a business requirement to improve and strengthen organisational tools and processes, and to work in a better way with our suppliers and partners as we grow, which led us to look at how we manage these services. So this was our position at the end of 2018. We were operating in 34 countries in total, feeding about 1.4 million children, had about 650 IT users globally and a small IT team of 6. They were responsible for supporting our networks, our end user devices, our enterprise applications and Office 365 services. And much of our web development was done externally, working with partners, and all of the support was channeled back into one email inbox. And out of that we pulled requests, tracking and logging those on a spreadsheet. And as you can imagine, that was quite challenging. Not all of the work was captured, and certainly not the latest status updates We had challenges around communications and threads being locked in different people's inboxes. At that time as well, we were obviously a growing organisation, didn't have a complete solution for asset management. Again, that was locked in spreadsheets and quite difficult to manage. We weren't really doing anything at that time on problem and change management. And as an organisation, we're continuing to grow, continuing to getting new requests for help. And we realised that if we were to grow even at the rate that we had been growing by 2020, we were expecting to be feeding close to 2 million children. This time we were onboarding more IT systems, a new CRM system to support our donors. We had new applications coming online to support our recruitment and finance, and so the organisation was becoming much more of an IT organisation than it ever had been. And increasingly we were working with greater numbers of third-party developers, whether they be in web or other types of applications, and we needed better ways of collaborating with them. So we knew the challenges we had with the support inbox and spreadsheet tracker were just going to deteriorate over time with scale, and that what we really needed was a IT service management solution. Something that would provide greater visibility into the requests for both requesters and the team, and transparency. And we also knew that we needed a more complete picture on the demand for our services to be able to identify trends in those requests and give us information that would help improve the services. So we began to go to market to look for an IT service management solution. Particularly we were looking for one with a number of these requirements here, that had a good self-service customer portal that was web-based, mobile friendly, with a good back-end knowledge base to it, something that would help us embed and really develop our ITIL processes and introduce service level management for a number of our requests. We're looking for something that was customizable, that would grow and work with us, that would be a good fit with our developing processes, permit the creation of new fields, form customization and workflows. And we're looking for a tool as well that would enable support across multiple channels, phone, IM, email. We were already transitioning a lot to Teams within the organisation, using Slack, communicating with our external developers, and we knew this tool needed to support various different channels. We're also looking at integrations for other things that we're using, such as Azure Active Directory with single sign-on, integrations with our monitoring and incident management systems that we had in place. And we were looking as well for a tool that would provide us with real flexibility around the creation of management dashboards and reporting. In this as well, we're looking for a partner that would really provide us with responsive support, that had a good community for development around it as well. And we knew that we didn't have the infrastructure to self-host or really the capacity to support this. So looking at something that was either cloud-based or that had options around hosting was important to us. And most importantly, it needed to be something that would fit within our budget, enabling us to channel much of the resources entrusted to us directly back into the work. So on completion of our market analysis, we realized that Jira was going to be a really good fit for us. We had a meeting with new Verve, who came on site to capture our requirements. They really helped us identify and categorize all the different services that we provide, and to draw out the issue and request types, mapping our current workflows in the organization. And they returned preparing a managed services offering that really suited our needs. Now, we were really pleased to learn as a registered non-profit organisation that we were able to use the Atlassian community licensing program, which enables non-profits to secure Atlassian server products and software and the Atlassian made apps for free, which is a phenomenal support that Atlassian provide to the non-profit community, And I'd encourage you, if you know any other non-profits out there or work with them, really to recommend that program to them. So Atlassian and New Verve helped us identify and select a number of additional add-ons and integrations that would really meet all of the different requirements that we had for the service desk. And we were aiming to design and launch a soft launcher service desk in the UK for Q3 of 2019 that would include an asset management solution with a schema developed using Insights for Jira. We're also looking to launch alongside our service desk and reporting a number of software projects that our development teams would use to collaborate with these external developers, with a view to, on completion of a successful pilot, having a global rollout towards the end of 2019. So just a few quick slides to show you the end product. This is our customer service portal, the IT service desk, using a template created with Refined. A couple of our request type forms. This is for reporting an incident to IT support, and also one of our request templates for the addition of a new user account. In the background here you'll see a couple of our dashboards that have been developed. These usually show on wall monitors in the office, and I think you'll also see one of our knowledge base articles in the background there. The agents have really loved the development of the knowledge base, particularly for frequently asked questions. They're able to link directly to the knowledge base article when replying to somebody who's reported an issue or asked for help in the service desk. So that's proving really useful. Here you can see one of our sprint boards from July this month from our CRM project, and how we're using this tool now to communicate and collaborate with. In this case, this is one of our external developers working with us on the delivery of that project. So this slide here is a snapshot of the Insights asset management tool that we're using now to replace our previous system of recording assets in various spreadsheets. Insights is now allowing concurrent access by different asset administrators across the organisation to the assets to track their movement as they move maybe between some of our programme countries with staff. And it's also enabling us to link an asset directly with an issue in Jira, which is proving really useful with Jira Service Desk. So we began the global rollout of the Service Desk with a pilot group of users in the UK, about 140 users, that we undertook user training with through group demonstrations, recording e-learning content to publish on our e-learning portal, and the production of a number of small guides. And in this time we canvassed feedback from the users and the service desk agents on the forms and fields in the service desk, whether they were sufficient to capture the information required to resolve issues. We gathered feedback on the notification scheme used with the service desk and the quantity and quality of the information in the knowledge base. We took the opportunity in this time as well to further tailor automations, particularly around issue prioritization and the ability to auto-assign issues by type to groups of users. We'd introduced a copy comments to linked issues automation as well, so that when there was a major incident in play, it would copy the latest status updates down onto the child issues that had been reported by users. And we also looked at further enhancing our automations around certain issue types to auto-add reviewers, approvers and watchers. Now through this we learned that training our service desk agents on issue triage is key to ensure that all issues are categorised appropriately and that you can get the best out of the MI at the end of the day. We also learned that simplicity is best, that keeping your customer portal simple so you don't confound your users with a choice of issues to log, and also keeping your workflows and status transitions simple will really help with your automations. Now in future we're looking to roll the service desk out beyond just IT to some of our other teams. We have a number of electronic forms in the organisation, which we've realised quite quickly would benefit from transitioning those to Jira forms and service desks. So we're looking at extending service desk capability out into our HR and finance areas and a number of other teams as well. We're also looking at opportunities to further automate our processes, integrating them with additional systems, perhaps to automate the fulfillment of the requests end to end. And in future, we're considering deeper integrations with Status Page and Ops Genie to provide a more holistic view of our services across the organisation. With the move to Jira software, we've been able to make a number of improvements to the way that we develop software at Mary's Meals. Previously, we'd been working with our external developers on their own project environments, where we didn't have access to customised boards, to view the workflows or edit the workflows, access the work logs and the reporting that we needed. Now with our own Jira project environments in place, we're able to do all those things. We're able to separate out our developments and to create uncluttered project boards. We own our backlog and are able to make improvements to the issue prioritisation process accordingly. This has helped us to be more agile in the way that we work at Mary's Meals. With an improved focus on prioritisation, we're able to be more flexible when the requirements evolve. No longer do we have a front-heavy requirements capturing phase, but we've developed a more iterative way of working with a testing and development cycle that enables us to make small changes, have them reviewed by the requester and return them back into development much faster so that they come out of the testing cycle much more aligned with the requester's needs. And some of the things we've learned along the way, initially we had started sprints involving multiple teams and multiple projects. We've since decided that it's actually a much cleaner way to track the progress on a particular strand of work by running separate sprints for different teams on a project. We're also now using Jira to capture project documentation in a different way, capturing the acceptance and sign-off criteria directly within the project, using it to create and socialize the deployment plans and capture the test results. We've also introduced some major pieces of work, show and tells, enabling us to demonstrate the changes that are made in a period of development and testing, and again return it back to development if it's not quite meeting the requirements before the testing fully concludes. Ways that we're looking to develop this further, I mentioned parallel sprints. That's something we've just introduced this month, and we'll look to continually review that. At the minute, all our projects are run in isolation almost, and we're looking at the introduction of project and portfolio management for that overarching view of project dependencies and resourcing. That's something we'll be looking to introduce in the second half of this year. Currently, all our test management is done externally in Excel, and we'll be looking at one of the Jira integrations called Zephyr to introduce a suite of test tools to manage the testing lifecycle as well. And we'll be looking at, in conjunction with that, improving our regression testing capability. So that was a little introduction to Mary's Meals and how we're using Atlassian tools in our IT service management work today. It's an incredibly flexible solution, and we're really looking forward to developing it further as our work grows and changes. I'd like to thank Atlassian for the support from their community programme, and also for the support from New Verve under their Pledge 1% commitment. I look forward to joining you later for the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Really good presentation again, and we're delighted as a team at New Verve to be working directly with Mary's Meals. So we're going to move on to our live Q&A now. So you've been passing through your questions throughout the two talks, and hopefully we'll be able to address some of those questions now. Okay, so we've got a few questions. First up, so the question is, one key capability of modern ITSM function is live chat. Are there any plans for an integrated chat experience in Jira Service Desk? So I'll maybe hand this over to Joachim in a second, but from a partner perspective, obviously we're aware that Jira is a platform that's very configurable and customizable. So through the Atlassian marketplace, there's thousands of apps enabling customers to tailor the tools to their needs. For chat, from our experience, certainly there are lots of integrations available, so to Slack and Hangouts and so on. And then there are a few marketplace apps. So depending on what platform you're on, for example, Server, Chat for JSD is very popular. That's by Spartez. And then in cloud, there are lots of apps being released fairly regularly. I am aware of a new one called Chat, Text and Voice for JSD by Ping Pilot. But I think on cloud, there isn't kind of a mature chat tool available yet on the marketplace. Joachim, do you want to maybe answer that question as well from Atlassian's perspective?
Yes, so I definitely checked that one in the background. And so there's something on our roadmap to have an integrated live chat. But at the moment, I cannot take a date or a release to that one. But it's definitely on our roadmap to bring that in, because it's also a great enhancement and bringing our ITSM solution forward, having these capabilities.
Okay, great. That's really good to hear. Okay, so the next one, probably more for you actually again, Joachim. So ITIL 4 incorporates Agile, Lean, DevOps into the ITSM practice. Are there any pointers or resources from Atlassian on implementing ITSM at scale? So this person's thinking of lessons learned from SAFe.
So thank you for this question, Nigel. So in that case, I also now will pass the link to the white paper that maybe was on the last slide of my presentation. So there's also a small section in that one. And so I think in terms of ITSM at scale, what we would like to offer is really, if you have an idea like an Epic, try to make a service desk out of that one, see how it is paying off, maybe cherishing some of the successes, maybe then bring it over to other departments like HR. And so I think therefore there are some capabilities really also to scale in that direction. And maybe also in terms of the DevOps approach, I think there's also some great stuff available in terms of enhancing this one with Opsgenie, maybe also bringing Bitbucket and the automation in that game. So I think there might be some ideas to support this one.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, definitely worth having a look at that link. I've posted it into the Q&A dialogue as well. Perfect. Okay. The next one. What sort of ITSM throughput does Mary's Meals maintain on a regular basis? So for example, number of requests processed per day or week?
This is still an evolving picture for us actually, Nigel. We're the international organization is quite well used to using it now. They're mostly kind of UK based. But in terms of our global numbers, that's still a smaller portion of what we do. I'd say there's been about 4,500 requests through there since we introduced the service desk. That equates to in the region of 80 to 90 per week from the UK. We're also putting through our monitoring events, because those were previously uncaptured elements of our work that the team had to work on. I'd say we get put about 50 to 60 of those through per week as well. I mean, there's obviously a lot more to our work that's done out in country in places where they don't actually have a lot of connectivity at periods. And our challenge is getting, I've got some field engineers locally reporting to me to put their work through the service desk. So I expect that to grow as it becomes people's primary means of communication.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, and another question for you actually, Stephen. Again, I think most of these questions are actually anonymous. So do you report on customer satisfaction? And if so, are there any lessons learned from the service desk customer side which you'd share with the community?
I think we've actually got some more work that we could do on this. We obviously have the customer satisfaction capability built into service desk. And really that's just used for requesters to feedback on how successful we've been fulfilling their request, and everyone in Mary's Mills is just too nice. and they give great feedback actually to our engineers. They're very helpful, but I don't think we've done any strategic work in looking at yet how we can improve on the desk itself or processes. So that's something I think we'll follow up on.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, as you mentioned, I guess there is the native CSAT tool, but there are additional marketplace apps as well, which give extra features and extra functionality as well. So definitely looking at.
I mean, I must say, even the customer feedback is very good for our kind of one-to-one development within the team, and we can incorporate customer feedback into staff reviews and things, which has been very welcome.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a few more questions to go through, actually. It's great that we're seeing lots come through today. So while we have you, Stephen, question, I suppose it's kind of crosses into PPM as well. So this person wants to know how you currently manage your team capacity.
It's a good question. I'm not sure I've really got a complete answer for that yet. I know that on the software project side of things, where we're working in a much more agile manner now, the estimation is obviously quite key to that. That's not the side that I work on, but I know that we're now starting to get better at estimating effort for the issues raised into the knowledge base, and using that to kind of plan our sprints. But I'm afraid I can't talk too much more to how the software development team's using it. I can certainly take that away and maybe feedback in future.
Yeah, that sounds good. I guess probably, we'll probably be doing a series as well on PPM specifically as well, and we can pull in elements of ITSM as well, and how do you manage capacity for IT teams as well. So yeah, I think one to follow up on potentially. Okay, so we've got a few more. Let me see. Maybe got one for Joachim. So kind of working a lot with customers, Joachim. So how would you start an ITSM journey, or how would you identify in the first place if you actually need to implement an ITSM-based approach to service management?
So I think that's a very good question. The answer maybe is not easy. So I think what you easily can do is really try to find out if you would like to start it on the IT side. So talking about change request, or talking about really incident management. Or maybe the question is if you would like to start it, for example, on the non-service side, for example, offering services for onboarding new employees, or having something in the marketing department. But I think the best way really is to engage with a partner, because then you can speak about maybe your requirements. The partner can also talk about his achievements and also his experience in that space. And so maybe try to start a small experiment, and they maybe then make it bigger over the time. Like I said, a little bit the agile approach. Start small, reiterate on that one, see what's working good, see what needs to be improved, and then really bring it on a broader level.
Cool, thanks, Joachim. Yeah, I think the great thing about the Atlassian is just the fact that there is this big ecosystem. So, alongside the partner network, there's also the Atlassian community where you can ask questions. And there's lots and lots of case studies and blog content constantly coming out as well, across the partners, but also obviously Atlassian too. So there's lots of knowledge to share, and there's lots of knowledge available online. Let me see, what will I ask next? So we're still getting a few in. So Joachim, so what do you think are the best advantages then of using an ITSM approach, and is it worth the investment?
Sorry, I was on mute. So I think the best advantage is really to make your services more approachable to internal and external customers, and also learn about your experiences with these service requests. So I think this is really the idea to do that one, because I think, I don't know in which area you are working, but service management capability is really a big differentiator, maybe due to other competitors in your area. And maybe the easier your approach is for your customers to get engaged with you, maybe this is something that really will pay off on the long run.
Great. Okay, I'm aware we're overrunning, but I'll just answer it. We've got 3 more questions. I'll just run through them very quickly. Quick question for Stephen. Does Merry Meals employ any analytics for knowledge base articles?
In short, no. It's something I'd be interested to look at, though.
Yeah, okay. Again, I guess once you have Confluence linked with your service desk, there are stats that you can get natively through your service desk. And then obviously you can get more depending on your specific needs as well. Another one for Mary's Meals. So with Mary's Meals being a global organization, is the Atlassian stack used accessed from across the globe or primarily from the UK?
It is available across the globe. Given that most of what we do business in English usually, so we haven't really made much use of localization for this yet. It might come.
Yeah, okay. And that's maybe something that we can follow up on after the webinar, just in terms of localization. I know that some of the team at New Verve have been working with another client with this challenge, the localization. I do know Jira Service Desk supports localization. I think it's about 24 languages. So yeah, we can maybe follow up on that in a bit more detail, maybe through a blog article. And then the last question, so this is again anonymous. The last time I looked into Jira software and Jira Service Desk integrations, they were fairly basic. Is there now integration at ticket or issue level, i.e. can I raise a Jira software issue directly from a Service Desk ticket and simultaneously track both through the relevant fulfillment or development process? I guess I can answer that first and then maybe hand over to you, Joachim. So within Jira Service Desk, there is an automation engine built in, and that's, it's getting better and more robust over time. But what you can do is you can, for example, you could link a couple of tickets and have them automatically update when, for example, your Service Desk request is updated. So if, for instance, somebody raises a request coming in and you discover it's actually, behind the scenes, it's caused by a bug in a software tool. So you link the 2 tickets, and then you can set up an automation rule to kind of keep the 2 in sync. So if, for example, the bug is fixed and deployed, it'll automatically ping an update to the agent that's dealing with the request, for instance. Joachim, do you maybe want to add some more to that question?
So in that case, you did it really brilliant, because it's more or less the answer I would like also to provide, because really I think the automation is a key piece, especially, for example, also thinking of an idea like onboarding a new employee. Based on that request, there will be out of the box, for example, 5 separate issues in different areas, like providing a laptop, providing some access to systems, and also see and track this one. So I think maybe, I don't know how long it is past that you have seen this, but I think there's really, there are really some big enhancements. So I think now you should maybe try it again, please.
Okay, great. So unfortunately, I think we have kind of run out of time on Q&A. So thanks, Stephen and Joachim. I'm just going to run through just a few final slides before we wrap up. So big thank you to everybody for joining today. Thanks for all taking the time out. Big thanks to Atlassian, our primary partner for this series. And also thanks to Mary's Meals as well for being our charity sponsor. So yeah, so thanks to everybody, thanks to our speakers, and thanks to everyone involved. If you'd like to find out more about Pledge 1%, here's the link. Just think about the difference your companies could potentially make by just pledging 1%. There are of course a multitude of products in the Atlassian ecosystem that can be used for IT service management. We've only touched on some of them today. We couldn't bring them all to the table. So if you'd like to find out more about Atlassian products in general, so Confluence, Jira Service Desk, Status Page, or Ops Genie, just let us know. I'll provide the contact details for New Verve at the next slide. In terms of Atlassian Marketplace products, I've included icons for a few there. So we've got Insight for asset management from Mindville, Refined for theming, EasyBI for all of your business intelligence and reporting. And there's lots of automation tools out there, such as Script Runner, which can be really, really good, making all of your agents' lives much, much easier. So if you'd like to find out any more about these, we can give you a solution demo. Just get in touch. If you'd like to get in touch, here's our details. So info@newverve.scot. Feel free to reach out to us. You can also follow us on Twitter @newverve, and check out our website as well. Probably the best way to keep in touch for our next events. We haven't announced a date yet for the next webinar, but it'll likely be in the next month or so. But yeah, sign up to the newsletter through the website and you'll be able to keep in touch that way. So yeah, so that's it for today. Thanks again to everybody, and we will see you at the next event. Cheers.